Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Hi, my name is Cristina Garcia. I am in between New York City and Austin, Texas, splitting my time between, I think, the two best cities. And I'm the founder and CEO of 787 Social, which is a boutique social media marketing agency. What we do is, we really help brands expand their digital presence, whether it's through social media campaigns, content creation, influencer marketing, paid ads, consulting, we do it all. So, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So I'm just curious about your background. How did you kind of get into this space in the first place?
So it was actually never something that I envisioned myself doing. It kind of just fell into my lap, per se. I graduated from Louisiana State University, go Tigers. And from there, I double majored in public relations and political science. And so my family's in politics, and I always thought, I'm going to go the political route. And so I unfortunately graduated during COVID. But during that time, was looking for jobs. No one was getting jobs. None of my friends, either they had jobs and they were let go before they even started. A lot of people were going back to school, but I had interned in DC my summer before. And I was like, you know what? That's where I want to be. I really want to do the city living after college. And so I was very determined to do that. But the only thing was, again, no one was hiring, and I was like, I'll take whatever job I can get. So the first job I got was at a political advertising firm doing different campaigns during, the election cycle. And it was great. I got to learn a lot about, advertising and media buying and all those sorts of things, which is not something I really anticipated getting into. But that kind of sparked my love for the marketing aspect. That job actually brought me back to Austin. They were expanding their office, and I was leading that initiative. It was a very small company, so I kind of grew the ladder pretty fast. While I was in Austin, I realized that I didn't love politics. I was really just doing it for my family, and it was because my family was always in politics, and I was like, there's something here that I don't love. And so during that time, my mom's friend had a candle company and was like, hey, we really need help with social media. Like, do you think you can help? And I was like, yeah, I have social media. I took a social media class in college, and that's really how it started. So both my parents are entrepreneurs. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a business. And so I started a business, and that was back in 2021. I officially launched September 2021, and here we are. A couple years later, there's been a name change, ups and downs with the business, but overall, I'm really proud of where we're at now.
Awesome. So in terms of kind of, who you're working with today, there are certain verticals that you focus more on, or what does that kind of look like for you?
Yeah. So whenever I first started, people were like, you have to niche down. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I like too many different things. I really want to do the work. And I think that was something in my previous job, political advertising. I was doing this one specific line of work that I didn't love. And so when I first started, I was like, I really want to experience all the different type of works that I can do. And so I actually never niched down. And so we have clients that range from lifestyle, health and wellness, food and beverage, hospitality, beauty and fashion, like you name it. It's kind of all across the board. But I always say it has to be when we take on a client, like I think about it. I think in the beginning, I was just kind of taking on everyone, to get money as a early stage founder does. But now we're really thoughtful into like who becomes a client. Like we really want to make sure that it's someone or something that we would use like in our day-to-day, or we can relate to pretty easily, whether it's through the founder story or the product itself. But yeah, so I try and stick to the things that we would love to market. And I feel like that has led to a wide variety of different niches.
For sure. Yeah. That makes sense. So in terms of the platforms that you kind of focus on, obviously social media has been changing. There's so many new platforms. TikTok has been like a newer one like in the last few years. So what have you kind of focused on? It's like all these different platforms. There are certain platforms that you kind of like focus more on. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so we primarily focus on Instagram and TikTok. Those are our two biggest platforms. We'll cross promote to Meta, but for the majority, those are our two platforms. We'll occasionally do some LinkedIn work, Pinterest work, X work, but I would say we really prioritize content creation too when it comes to like our whole marketing strategy. We're really big on, what is the strategy at hand first. We look through, competitor analysis, social media audits, platform analysis, and we'll create content that we think really will perform best. And so right now we're seeing that TikTok is a really big growth platform. Yes, it's having its, trials and tribulations with, our government and everything, but I feel like we're on the up and up. TikTok just got extended. That bill just got extended a couple more days. I mean, I really think it has shifted the way that we view content as a whole. And so, right now, unfortunately, the attention span of a human being is the same as a goldfish. It's 6 seconds. But I think that's because TikTok has come in and has been such a valuable resource that we're able to consume content so much, but it does have an effect on, how much we can hold that attention. And then Instagram, we really love it. We love the way Instagram is heading right now with Meta and all the new features. I think it's getting back to where it was a couple years ago. I know that may be a controversial saying, but I really think that Instagram has been a really great platform to our clients lately. And it's a great way to show, your portfolio, your line of work. Whereas TikTok, I feel like it's a really great way to be educational and to show your brand's personality.
For sure. And then I guess how do you kind of balance between organic versus paid? Because you were saying that you guys kind of do both. So how do you understand which, method to go upon and even which platform makes sense for your client?
So we really look at, what is it that we're paying? What's the goal? I think that's the number one step, is to figure out, okay, what is your goal from a paid campaign versus organic content? We do our strategy when it comes to a marketing sales funnel. We start at brand awareness, and obviously we want to see that ROI at the bottom. But I think when it comes to paid versus organic is really great for reach. Sometimes it's hard to see analytics. I don't really look at likes and comments for, reporting tools that can show ROI. I'm more looking at shares and saves and reach too, and how many views our video received. And so, but when you're looking at paid, you can see a little bit more of that definite ROI, cost per click, and more of those acquisition leads and numbers there. When it comes to paid, I think I always like to associate it with a campaign. Where is our ad spend going? Let's put, this piece of content is more for brand awareness, where this is more for acquisition. We're going to put different funds into there to see, how it's performing. Also, too, I do think it's really great if you do see an organic piece of content performing really well. It's great to, boost that content even more, put paid behind it. Just so, again, the goal really is with social media is to keep your current followers loyal while reaching a new set of audience. We always want to share our client, expand, share the news of our client, share the product, whatever it may be, their mission to the world. And so we definitely want to keep the customers that we have now, but also, always try and reach new ones as well. And so I think paid is really great when it comes to that.
For sure. And obviously, you were saying that you kind of are going between Austin and New York, two major markets. Have those been the best channels, kind of local events, things like that to grow your client base? Or do you have clients around the world? What does that kind of look like for you?
Great question. I mean, two different cities completely. I think I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas. And so I've definitely seen the growth of the city. And I think a lot of people think that, oh my gosh, it's this really a big market, or it's this big city. It's becoming this big city. But I mean, I feel like the real people know in Austin, it may be a big city, but it's a super small town feel. Austin is continuously growing, which is amazing, but it is still really easy to make those connections. And the lines of work are a little bit smaller than obviously a New York based market. But, with New York, it just means there's a lot more opportunity. I've seen that even just through events in Austin. Every now and then you'll see an event that has to do, with marketing, and there'll be good people on the panel. But New York City, I feel like I've been able to learn so much from so many different events. I just went to this really great event with Shopify last Thursday here in Soho, and basically the founder or the creatives and higher ups of Olipop were there, Graza, Jolie, and Crown Affair, and they were just talking about their brand strategies and how they really took off, and what is their creative strategy and what is resonating with their audience that they're seeing. And so events like that are a little bit easier to find. And in New York, which I feel like has been really beneficial when, I'm doing strategy for clients and I'm hearing about all these big brands and what they're doing. A lot of my brands are small to mid-sized businesses. And so it's really great to get that insight where it's like everyone doesn't have it all put together. These big brands may seem like it's put together, but some people are just throwing things at the wall and seeing if it sticks. And I think that's totally okay too. I believe I can't remember if it was creative director behind Olipop or Jolie that says this, but not everything needs to be a campaign. And I think that's something that as agency owners and, people think that everything needs to be campaign. And sometimes like the best type of content that does well is stuff that just comes up like randomly on the spot. And so that's why I think like I personally love the New York events and market. It's a lot. I mean, it's great to just expand your network too. So
for sure. But do you feel like those events have been like the best channel for you to kind of get clients and grow the business, or have you kind of done it through like different ways? Like what has been like the best channels for you to scale to this point?
So word of mouth has been really successful for me. I think that's obviously the number one, engine that we have. But also I think, yes, going to these events, really networking, putting yourself out there. I think if you want to grow and you want to scale, it's all about like networking. Like I have 3 more networking events or just coffee meetings this week from people I've met at these events where it's like, okay, how can we help one another? I'm more of like community over competition. And I believe that like if you really want to grow and scale, you need a village to help you. And I think there is no shame in asking people for help and, seeing if they know anyone that needs, social media or marketing help or anything that like if they need help, even like trade or anything like that. I think that's really important to, utilize the people around you, getting more clients. I think that's really a good way too. Our social media channels have brought in people as well, previous clients, some advertising that we've done, but very little. But yeah, I just think that personal connection is really key to having a scalable business.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I think it's like the introductions or the people you meet at events. Like, I think especially since COVID, right? People are looking for more of that in-person,
exactly,
more genuine interaction.
Totally. I completely agree. And it's nice. I think a lot of people want to do it. I myself am considering, doing some events in New York and in Austin, similar to like what this event was that I went to, and starting to do more events like that because I think, again, it really puts your name out there, but it grows a lot too, grows business.
So in terms of your goals, right, you kind of mentioned one of them may having some like events, but besides that, I mean, obviously now we're in Q2 of 2025. So for the rest of the year, what are you kind of focused on here for the business?
So we're 3.5 years into the business. We went through a whole rebrand about 1.5 years ago, which set us back, I feel like, a little bit, but we are in a hiring mode right now. We're in a scaling mode, which is amazing. We're hiring 2 more people here in May and July. And we're just looking for more business and really to scale the company as a whole, but also at the same time, we really focus on like genuine connection with, the founders or whoever we're working with on our client side. And so we always want to keep that true and the same way. And so we don't ever want to scale too much, but we are really excited to take on a lot of new partnerships and bigger projects, growing our team so that way we can really provide and deliver the best results to our clients.
That's awesome. So if you could go back in time, because you said you started 3.5 years ago. So 3.5 years ago, before you got started, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
There's 2 things. I think, again, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, in 3.5 years, I see all these other people that are really successful in like 2 years. And I really think it's like, there is no timeline. Absolutely. There is none for any founder, for any business. And I think having those blinders on and keeping to yourself and your work and know that like what you're doing is really great. And if you set your mind to it, you will get there. I think owning a business, as any founder would know, it is so difficult. There are things that pop up that you wouldn't have even expected, starting a business. And so I always think that like every single time I hit a roadblock, I really overcome it and become stronger from it. And so I think when I was, early stage business, I was always freaking out about all these different, things that were happening. I was like, oh, okay, this is just like an adjustment. Like, it's not like a huge roadblock. It's like, okay, this is how I'm going to adjust my business. The other thing is hiring was I tried all different sorts of hiring, part-time, contractors, full-time, and even like having different roles for each. And I feel like I'm finally at a good place right now with like my hiring structure and my role allocation. I think it took a while for me to get there and understanding, what is actually needed to perform well and really have that team collaboration and mindset. So yeah, so I think I would say those two for sure is like, I wish I had my hiring structure like back then. And then two, that I think, there is no timeline for a business, or you will hit roadblocks, but you overcome them in a way that makes your business a lot stronger.
That's really good advice. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, wanted to work with you guys, do you mind sharing your website or social media?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.787social.com. And then our Instagram and TikTok handles are at 787social. So you can find us there. We also have a weekly social scoop newsletter, which you can sign up on our website. It shoots out an email every Sunday at 3 p.m. with all the latest trends and trending sounds for Instagram and TikTok that we find a lot of businesses really love and use. So
awesome. Well, Christina, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.